I never imagined I'd be telling this story, but here I am. They say that sharing your secrets is good for the soul, right? Well, buckle up, because this tale is nothing short of a warning to others. It all began on Christmas Eve when I was 22, back home from college for the winter break. My dad had just gotten back from a business trip to Japan, and I was decorating our enormous Douglas fir tree while Mariah Carey's voice filled the room. Dad called out from the kitchen, "Linda, sweetie, can you lower that a bit? I'm trying to wrap some presents." I rolled my eyes but turned the volume down on All I Want for Christmas Is You. While adjusting the star on top of the tree, I spotted my dad sneaking upstairs with several shopping bags in hand. Intrigued, I watched him carefully hide the bags in his closet before returning downstairs. "What's in those bags, Dad?" I asked casually. He hesitated briefly, then recovered. "Oh, just some last-minute gifts. Nothing for you to be concerned about, pumpkin." Although I shrugged it off, something about his reaction felt off. Dad had never been good at lying, and it was clear he was hiding something. Still, it was Christmas. Maybe he'd gone the extra mile for a surprise gift this year. As night fell, the house filled with the warm scent of gingerbread and pine. Dad and I curled up on the couch to watch It's a Wonderful Life for what must have been the 100th time. Snuggling next to him, I felt safe and content. "I'm so happy you're home, Lindy," he said softly, using the nickname from my childhood. "It's just not the same without you." I looked at him and noticed a few strands of gray beginning to show near his temples. At 45, he still looked great, tall, fit, and with warm blue eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. I often forgot how young he'd been when I was born. "I'm glad to be home too, Dad," I replied, giving him a hug. When the movie ended, we said goodnight and went to bed, but I couldn't fall asleep. I tossed and turned, too excited for Christmas morning to relax. Finally, around midnight, I decided to sneak downstairs for some hot cocoa. The house was quiet and dim as I tiptoed down the stairs. But when I passed by Dad's room, I noticed a faint light shining under his door. Curious, I stopped and listened to the faint rustling sounds inside. Unable to resist, I gently pushed the door open just a crack. What I saw stopped me in my tracks. Dad was sitting on his bed surrounded by tissue paper and ribbons. In his hands was a stunning red lace lingerie set. My heart began to race as I watched him carefully fold the delicate fabric and place it inside a gift box. A flood of thoughts rushed through my mind. Did Dad have a secret girlfriend? Was he dating someone without telling me? But then, as he held the bra up to examine it, a shiver ran down my spine. I recognized the size. It was mine. I backed away from the door, my head spinning. There had to be an explanation, right? Maybe it was for his assistant or someone else. But deep down, I knew the truth. That lingerie was meant for me. I hardly slept that night, my mind racing as I tried to process what I'd just seen. By the time morning arrived, I had made up my mind. I needed to confront Dad about it. What else could I possibly do? Pretend I hadn't seen anything? So I did something crazy. I snuck into his room while he was in the shower and found the lingerie. With shaking hands, I stripped off my flannel pajamas and slipped into the red lace bra and panties. They fit perfectly. Of course, I threw my robe on over top and headed downstairs. Dad was in the kitchen brewing coffee when I entered. He turned to acknowledge me, and I saw the instant he noticed my outfit. The mug slipped from his grasp, shattering on the tiled floor. "Linda," he stuttered, his face turning pale. "What are you—" I untied my robe, letting it fall open to display the lingerie beneath. "Is this my Christmas gift, Daddy?" I asked quietly. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The only sounds were the drip of the coffee maker and our heavy breathing. Dad's eyes scanned my body, a mix of guilt and desire in his look. Finally, he broke the silence. "I'm so sorry, Linda," he whispered. "I never intended for you to find out. I don't know what's wrong with me." I stepped closer, my heart racing. "How long have you felt this way about me?" Dad ran a hand through his hair, looking distressed. "Years," he confessed. "Ever since you turned 18, I've tried to fight it, to push these feelings away. But the feelings just kept intensifying. I should have been horrified. I should have run away screaming. Instead, a warmth spread through me because, in truth, I had been nurturing my own forbidden emotions for quite some time." "Dad," I said quietly, I think I feel the same way." His eyes widened in disbelief. "You can't mean that, Linda. It's wrong. I'm your father, for heaven's sake." I closed the gap between us, placing a hand on his chest, feeling his heart race beneath my palm. I know it's wrong, I whispered, but I can't control how I feel. Can you? For a moment, we stood still, teetering on the brink. Then, almost in slow motion, Dad leaned down and pressed his lips to mine. The kiss was gentle at first, hesitant and unsure. But as I responded eagerly, wrapping my arms around his neck, it quickly became more passionate. When we finally pulled away, we were both breathless. "We can't do this," Dad said, even as he drew me closer. "If anyone found out," I silenced him with another kiss. "No one needs to find out," I whispered against his lips. "This can stay just between us." What followed was a whirlwind of passion and intensity. Later, as we lay intertwined on the cold tiles, the weight of reality began to settle over us. What had we done? How could we ever return to how things used to be? But before we could fully process it, the doorbell echoed through the house. A jolt of panic hit me. I had completely forgotten. Mom and my stepdad were coming over for Christmas breakfast. We scrambled up, hastily fixing our clothes. While he went to open the door, I dashed upstairs to change. My thoughts raced as I quickly pulled on a sweater and jeans. How on earth were we supposed to act normal after what had just happened? Somehow we made it through breakfast without raising any suspicion. We exchanged gifts, enjoyed cinnamon rolls, and laughed at my stepdad's cheesy jokes. Yet beneath it all, there was an undeniable spark every time our eyes met. That evening, after everyone had left, we stayed up talking for hours. We both acknowledged the gravity of what we had done and how deeply wrong it was. Yet, we couldn't ignore the powerful connection we shared. Ultimately, we made a choice. We would keep our relationship hidden, only indulging on special occasions like holidays. For the rest of the time, we'd maintain the facade of a father-daughter relationship in public, reserving our intimacy for private moments. Over the next few months, our lives became a blur of secret meetings and stolen glances. Whenever I came home from college, we found excuses to spend time alone. We were cautious, constantly looking over our shoulders, but the thrill of our forbidden relationship was intoxicating. However, as time passed, the burden of our secret began to weigh heavily on both of us. I found myself constantly lying to friends and family, inventing reasons why I wasn't dating anyone at school. He, too, grew distant from his social circle, fearing someone might sense the truth. The guilt started to consume us. I would wake up drenched in sweat from nightmares of being discovered. He began drinking more, trying to numb the shame. Everything came to a head that summer when Mom invited me to her beach house for a week. I lied, saying I had summer classes, intending to spend the time with him instead. But as I packed, Mom confronted me. "Linda, what's going on with you?" she asked, her voice full of concern. "You've seemed so distant lately. Are you in trouble?" I tried to dismiss her worries, but she wouldn't relent. Finally, looking into her worried eyes, I broke down, and the entire awful truth came pouring out through sobs. Mom was shocked, angry, disgusted, and heartbroken, but her primary concern was for me. She helped me understand that what I shared with him wasn't love. It was an unhealthy, manipulative relationship that was damaging both of us. With her support, I found the strength to end things. It wasn't easy. He begged, pleaded, and even threatened to harm himself. But I stood firm, knowing it was the only way to save us both. The aftermath was devastating. He checked into rehab to address his drinking. I began intensive therapy to work through the trauma and confusion. Mom divorced my stepdad, unable to trust men after what had happened. 2 years have passed since that Christmas morning, and while I'd like to say I'm fully healed, the truth is I still struggle. Trust doesn't come easily, and I battle panic attacks and lingering anger. Therapy has helped me see that none of it was my fault. He exploited his authority and manipulated my emotions to satisfy his desires. It wasn't love, it was abuse, plain and simple. I'm sharing my story to warn others who might be in a similar situation. No matter how real your feelings seem, a relationship between a parent and child can never be healthy or consensual. The power imbalance is too significant and the damage too profound. If you're struggling with inappropriate feelings for a family member, seek help. Talk to a therapist, counselor, or someone you trust. Don't let yourself be drawn into a situation that could ruin your life and those around you. As for me, I'm focused on rebuilding my life. I've returned to school to study psychology, hoping to help others who've endured abuse. I'm gradually learning to trust and love again, though it's a slow process. He and I haven't spoken since everything was revealed. Last I heard, he was still in rehab, coming to terms with his actions. Part of me hopes he finds peace and forgiveness someday. but I know some bridges can never be repaired. This Christmas, I'll celebrate with Mom and close friends. We'll decorate the tree, exchange gifts, and create new memories untainted by secrets. As I place the star on top of the tree, I'll silently give thanks for second chances and the strength to overcome even the darkest moments. Remember, love should lift you up, not pull you into a spiral of guilt and secrecy. If something feels wrong, trust your instincts, seek help, and never hesitate to speak your truth. Only then can you truly find freedom.